I discovered you about a couple of weeks ago, actually.
Yeah.
Very fresh. And not by accident.
Yeah.
It was like one thing leading
Nothing
to another.
is ever an accident.
And when you were speaking of some very key things like contrast, all of a sudden I realized that I had a new word for conflict. Because every time I would think of something that was going wrong in my life, and I would say the word conflict, I felt like I was just making it bigger. But contrast feels more neutral.
You're not seeing it correctly when you think that it is conflict, because it's not conflict.
Right.
It is contrast. And we just want to stick something in here and then we'll listen to you. Contrast that causes you to launch a rocket, which means you can take the bounce. So it's just a really good thing. It's a really good thing. It's the beginning of all good things.
Right, so I have been looking at the contrasts in my life, and sometimes I get into an overwhelming experience of them where
Yes.
I feel like I am just drowning into them.
Well, don't do that.
Right. So you come up with the metaphor, with the image of the cork, and it's like, bang. That's exactly it.
Cork floating up here, that's what your alignment is. Hold it under the water. That's what negative emotion is. When you let go of it, it'll float back. But many of you have developed habits of holding it under the water and then calling it conflict. Why don't things get better? Let go of that. Why doesn't this get better? Just let go of it. I really don't like this. Somebody should call somebody. Somebody should do something about this. Just let go of it. I don't think I should let go of it because it's a problem. It's been a problem in my life for a really long time. Let go of it. I don't want to let go of it because... And the thing is, you can't stop thinking about something, because when you decide to stop thinking about that thing you're thinking about it anyway. Right. I'm going to stop thinking about that thing that I'm not going to think about anymore, but I'm thinking about that thing that I'm not going to think about anymore. But I'm still thinking about that thing, but I'm not going to think about that thing anymore. Well, you are going to keep thinking about that thing, so you've got to find something else to think about.
And it turns into a vortex of its own.
Law of attraction is a very powerful thing.
Right.
And momentum is a very powerful thing. So here's the thing. You're new to us. We're going to tell you a story that is the best momentum understanding. So Esther is standing at the top of the hill in San Francisco, amazed at what she sees. She cannot believe that people actually live in these places, on these hills. So imagine sitting at the top of that hill, and you decide that you'd like to see what would happen. So you take your car out of gear, take the brake off, and you just nudge it a little to see what will happen. Well, what will happen is the car will end up very fast in the bay. So you come to your senses before it begins at all, and you step out in front of it, and the car just bumps up against you, and you're able to stop it because you stopped it before the momentum got going. Don't ask yourself to suddenly stop anything when there's a lot of momentum going. But on new things, when you are aware of the way you are feeling, you can stop the momentum in the early stages. That's the benefit of waking up and realizing it's a new day. And in this day, there is no momentum because the momentum stopped while I was asleep. So any momentum that's going to get going, I got it going by regurgitating it, by remembering it, by emailing somebody, by blogging about it, by talking about it. I got it going again today, and it's not very strong. I could stop it in the early stages if I want to.
Yeah, I have been kind of trying to find something that I can meet, for example, an experience of contrast that feels out of hand, like anxiety or overwhelm in my personal situations. And
is everything in your life like that?
It's a very interesting mix, because on one hand it is, and on the one hand, I have the exact opposite at the same time.
Well, wait, just answer the questions as we give them to you. Is everything in your life unwanted? Is there anything in your life that is wanted?
Well, there are things, but here it taps into...
Wait. Is there anything in your life that is wanted?
Yeah.
And do you have the ability to focus on that or them?
I have that ability, yeah.
And when you do, does the momentum increase on that subject?
Yes.
And when the momentum increases on that subject, does it feel better?
Yes.
And do you want to feel better?
That's where I found out I have a habit of not giving myself permission. It's old.
But that's why we're asking you this. So which feels better, to feel a little lighthearted or to feel a little defeated?
Lighthearted?
And if you know that you do have the option, especially if you catch a thought early before it gets any momentum, do you accept that you have the ability to focus in a way that does feel good?
Yeah.
We're not arguing with you at all. We know that sometimes the conditions are enough and you just want to scream and it doesn't feel fair and it's not what you want, but you can't get to where you want to be from that awareness. You have to just let that sit where it is and not let yourself be actively vibrationally engaged with it. And it is our promise to you, it will peter out. It will become irrelevant. It will go away, provided you can find something else to give your attention to. You have a really active mind. It's a good thing. You want to focus on something. And so as you choose every now and again something that feels better and something that feels better, it's like giving less airtime to unwanted and more airtime to wanted. So you're practicing a vibrational frequency that puts you in connection with source more often, so that ideas about the solutions, everything that's bothering you, has not just one solution, but 10 or 20 or 30 or 40 active solutions available to you at all times. But you block yourself. It's like you've got an umbrella up shielding yourself from receiving any good ideas because you're all embroiled in the problem. So if you can find just one piece of something that feels sort of kind of good, and you can focus there just to break loose the log jam of resistance just a little bit, that momentum will carry you into your natural cork floating. And then you'll be in that place of realizing, and then solutions will start flowing. You will feel brilliant in your ability to solve problems. You know that the vibration of a problem and the vibration of a solution are very different frequencies.
I am using feeling gratitude to get out of trouble.
Well, it's a good way. Appreciation and gratitude are similar but different. Gratitude is happy I've gotten over that.
Okay.
So that is all over in gratitude. Appreciation is looking forward to that. Gratitude is glad to be rid of that. Big difference.
Yeah, it's appreciation.
Yeah.
It's appreciation, especially in the situation with my son right now. He's a teenager and he just boom, bursted into his own drama and
into his own contrast.
In his own contrast.
From which he will take the bounce and thrive. And for you to be upset about his future thriving is ridiculous.
There is a grief that I know it's an attachment to the beautiful loving experience that we had.
What is?
Grief. There is a grief that holds me down often about it. Also, at the same time, I feel it's not fair to put grief into the situation because...
Well, it doesn't matter if it's fair or not. Negative emotion is always going to be there when you're focused in opposition to who you really are and what you really want. So grief isn't a condition, it's an indicator. It's like your gas tank. Would you put a happy face sticker on your gas tank because it's so depressing to see that you're out of gas? Or do you just go get more gas? Grief is just an indication. It doesn't mean anything other than what you're doing right here and now. Don't make it into something big. It's just how I feel when I focus in opposition to who I am and what I want. How do you feel today? I'm grieving. Well, why are you doing that? Well, because I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. I'm grieving because I'm focused in the opposite direction of what I want. Well, cut it out. You have the ability to focus in the direction of what feels better if you will practice it a little bit and see what the results are.
Practicing,
focusing with the intent of feeling better.
Okay, so now we go back to my early years. I find that I have limiting beliefs that talk me out of that automatically. It's almost like a nanosecond. I'm trying to catch
Well,
it.
that's because momentum is strong.
Yeah.
So when you activate it, the momentum takes you where it usually takes you. And that's all right. But now you know what's going on. So when that happens, you say to yourself, well, that momentum is strong. And tomorrow morning, I'll get some other momentum going. And then it happens again. And you say, well, that momentum is strong. But tomorrow morning, I'm going to get some other momentum going. And before you know it, you've got a different momentum going. Understanding how it works. This is all making sense to you. And as you say something and then we take your vocabulary and put it into the context of what's really going on in terms of the laws of the universe, now you've got something that you can work with. There is no reality that just is. Every reality that you are facing, you are the creator of. And if you don't like it, then you got to stop creating it. And the reason that you're creating it is by your simple attention to it. You just didn't know that before. But now you know it. It's going to get worse for a while. And the reason it's going to get worse for a while is because you'll know that you're doing it to yourself and you don't need to.
Yeah, judgment and everything. But you know, one of the best times of my life is when I am like in the middle of a lot of stress, and then there is this joy that comes up out of nowhere in the middle of chaos. And there is this, and I just sit down and say, wait a minute, I am feeling terrific. But there's no reason for it. It just comes up.
What you just said defies the law of attraction as we know it to be. So what must be happening is you're shifting your vibration, but you are oblivious to the fact that you're shifting it. You've let go of the cork and it's starting to float, and suddenly you feel better. You've been distracted from whatever was holding you in that other place.
Or it gets so big that it's ridiculous. Like I just burst laughing.
So what words would you like to say when it gets so big? I give up. I'm no longer going to try to control these uncontrollable conditions. And in that giving up, in that letting go, your vibration raises.
Right, like this is ridiculous, this is stupid. I mean, stupid. This is just...
Unnecessary is the best
Unnecessary.
word. It's unnecessary. Esther will say that. She will say to herself, well, that was unfortunate and unnecessary. And it sort of alerts her to the fact that she has the ability to focus things into a better place. Yeah. Really good conversation.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.